Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to another video full of World of Tanks replays. And I thought we would take the opportunity in this one to have a casual stroll down the Swedish tank destroyer line. Now, both Swedish lines I'm currently sitting at tier 2, so don't expect to get many matches from me on the subject anytime soon. However, via the magic of having subscribers who have played them, we're going to do it anyway. And we are kicking off proceedings with a match from Isla here. He is in the tier 5 Swedish TD, the IKV 103. A machine that doesn't actually seem to be very popular as far as I can work out. IKV comes with a 105mm howitzer as standard, and its regular ammunition, unusually enough, is high explosive anti-tank. It's heat ammo. With that, you get 300 alpha damage, 120 penetration, and a god-awful shell velocity. Its premium round is another heat round with 300 alpha and 140 penetration, so you get an extra 20 pen. Unusually, for these sort of, well, what you would traditionally think of as derp guns or howitzers, this tank doesn't actually get the option to fire high explosive. Nonetheless, so far Isla has managed to get 2 hits on tanks for a total of just a shade over 600 damage done. 300 alpha is very nice at tier 5. It's the same alpha damage that the OI experimental currently has, although that is due to change as it loses that 100mm gun. Hallelujah. About time too. But of course you have the limitations that it's heat ammunition, shell velocity is god awful, the accuracy is and you are on a TD rather than a heavy tank, which can put you at a disadvantage because you don't have a turret, you're a bit more limited in what you can do. But that Comet is really not having a very good day with all this people shooting him with high caliber guns and all that gubbins. I should also point out, of course, that this is the Lakeville map in case anyone hadn't noticed already. And Isla's team is currently 2 kills down. He's also bottom tier, by the way. This is a tier 7 match, and of course the IKV is, or this IKV is a tier 5 machine. Now, annoyingly, the enemy team have successfully won the town, which is a bit of a problem. I mean, this isn't a complete whitewash, but the friendly team are 3 tanks down. Yeah, okay, 2 tanks down now. Which isn't optimal. Both teams have lost to tier 6, and then the friendly team have lost an additional tier 5 and a tier 6. And someone's still plinking the valley, even though you should always ignore the valley, but there we go. What you gonna do? Some people are special snowflakes. Isla's seeing if you can pick out any more shots on these fellas. If you're emerging from town and you have not got the central road, you do have to be really careful because the guys there will shoot you. And here at tier 5, 6, 7, a lot of tanks, so I guess they won't necessarily have the view range that they would at the higher tiers. Hello, Mr. KV1, how are you doing today? Pew! You're dead. And that becomes Isla's first kill. Nice for him to actually get a kill, of course. But that's his first kill. Over 1100 damage done. But that was his first kill. Oh, that shot unfortunately missed, so the Churchill doesn't become Isla's kill number 2, though the guy does die, so, you know, it's all good. Anyone else want to poke out? Got 105mm of loving for you. Sherman goes down, but so does the friendly Type 64. So this match is actually quite close, all things considered. Now, I would say, all in all, the enemy team maybe have a slight advantage. They have more top-tier tanks remaining. And also they have the town, which is generally more important than having, say, the valley. Although they have the valley as well, effectively. Nonetheless, Friendly Tiger takes out that Comet, and that evens things up somewhat. So, this is quite a close game. Nope, can't shoot that guy. Oh, IS just has his bum poking out. Come on. Oh, really? The timing of that was apparently completely off. As bad as it could possibly be. That was unlucky. The shell velocity on these guns really is frustrating. And you don't have the choice of firing high explosive ammunition either. Yeah, as I say, I've heard a lot of people complain about this tank. Not played it myself, of course, so I can't really comment that much. But I can see different, let's say, qualities the tank has that people may well find frustrating. Fury there being a little optimistic. Fury there being a little dead. Kill number 2. T-67 over here in the valley is all by himself. And he becomes Isla's 3rd kill. Over 1500 damage done as well, by the way. So Isla's here in the valley. It's all boggy, it's swampy. The terrain in here is really not optimal to doing anything. One of the reasons I recommend avoiding it like the plague. But we've got these 2 TDs going for artillery, of which there are 3 on the enemy team. That's half of the enemy team's remaining tanks. And then, of course, with any luck, they can flank around a little bit. There are still dangerous tanks left on the enemy team. KV-2, IS, Su-122-44. And, of course, artillery is artillery. Speaking of the IS, he just took down the friendly Tiger. But Jagdpanzer 4 takes out the KV-2. There goes the IS, there goes the FV. And we're just left with that SU who was last spotted on the central road and a couple of artillery pieces. E-25 takes out the Su-122A. And the Rock eats that one. But the S-51 does derp the E-25 in the face, which leaves Isla the opportunity to black the guy, which would be nice. This is another tier 7 machine that Isla could pick up some XP for killing. Going behind the fellow, the S-51 is a weird machine in the tech tree. You don't really go anywhere from it. You can just get there from the KV-2. It's very sluggish. And Isla's hoping to come up behind the guy. Oh god, he's turned. Brown trails a moment, never mind. Not sure if he was reloading or not, but Isla was faster on the trigger anyway. And okay, that's not what you want to see, because no. That was never going to work. That guy will probably aim faster, will one-shot Isla here, and c'est la vie. Ah well, I mean that was pretty, it's one of those awkward situations where you suddenly go, oh god, and because you're in a tank destroyer you can't really, you're stuck on what you can do. So Isla went for the chance to kill him, I guess. It was a bit of a long shot, but nonetheless. So these guys are now trying to approach a full health Su-122-44. What characterises that tank? That tier 7 premium TD, decent frontal armour, 390 alpha damage, and a reload of, I think it's a shade over 6 seconds. The DPM on it is a little bit terrifying. So we have got the M12, Jagdpanzer 4, Gorilla and VK all away somewhere, and the there was we had Isla, and then 2 other tanks that have succumbed to the SU's gun, which is a bit of a problem. It's worth pointing out this SU, especially on full health, is actually a very dangerous machine. Just because the enemy outnumber him 4 to 1, well, if we have a look around, the M12's an artillery piece, he's a one-shot. The Gorilla is an artillery piece, he's a one-shot. The Jagdpanzer 4 is on low enough health, 313, that he's a one-shot. And so that means we've just got this VK3601. He's the only one who can take more than one shot, and it would take 3 shots to kill him, assuming the SU didn't roll high for his damage. And 3 shots the SU can put out in the space of about 13 seconds. So that is a little worrisome. And of course you then have to physically kill the SU himself. It's not as if he is a one-shot. So we've now got loads of people advancing, trying to go and kill this guy. And understandably the friendly team are not particularly happy about it. VK3601H takes a shot there. I don't know why he thinks this is an engagement he's going to win. The SU has cover, the SU has alpha, pen, DPM. The SU has every advantage here. And the VK does a grand total of 0 damage to this SU-122-44. Oh dear. Where he's currently positioned, it's really difficult for artillery to hit him, though I feel I should point out the M12 has gone assault gun. Yeah, this is a little bit worrisome. That, by the way, is the 4th kill in a row that the SU has racked up. Well, that we have seen him get. He's up to 5 kills. He hasn't lost a single hit point doing it. M12 is weighing up his options. Oh dear, oh dear. He's gone off, he's missed, he's a one-shot for the SU. That's problematic. We've also got this Jagdpanzer IV, of course, who is also a one-shot for the SU. Oh dear, Jagdpanzer IV puts one shot in and tracks the SU by the look of it. He's using the 75mm gun. Guerrilla lands a hit. SU puts another one in. 2 more shots will finish this guy off. Come on. Good boy, saved by a Jagdpanzer IV, and in the end that game was a win. Ooh, despite some of the team's best efforts to mess it up. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the post-game stats for this one. Okay, so that ended up being enough for Isla there for Ace Tanker, Fighter and Fire for effect. Not too bad considering he was a tier 5 tank in a tier 7 match. Finished second on XP on his team, only beaten out by the Type 64. Interesting that 945 experience was enough for the ace. Not as high as I might have expected. Also well done to that Jagdpanzer IV at the end. A good result there to kill the SU, who was starting to have a bit of a monster game. So 12 shots fired, 7 hits, 7 pens, 1729 damage, 1170 from from more than 300 meters, so from long range. Received 1 hit, it penetrated, it made him go splat. 6 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 of them destroyed, 56 assistance damage, just shy of 1.5 kilometers travelled, and with a premium account, 26,500 credit profit, plus times 3 experience event at the time, so a grand total of over 4, well, when you include the free XP, almost 4,500 experience. So a very nice result there for Isla in the tier 5 IKV 103 Swedish Tank Destroyer. Let's have a look at another game, and we're going to bump it up a tier. We're now at tier 6, and we join I Am Not Dave in his IKV 65-2. Tier 6 Swedish Tank Destroyer, as I just said. Interestingly, compared to the Tier 5, you actually get a smaller gun. You go from the 105mm gun on the Tier 5 to a 90mm gun here at Tier 6. And so your alpha damage goes from 300 to 240, but you do get other improved characteristics. Higher pen, accuracy, aim time, rate of fire, all that good stuff. I believe it gets higher rate of fire anyway. Could be wrong on that. We'll see. Anyway, Dave is here on, good lord, what is the name of the map? Fisherman's Bay, that's it. And it's a tier 6 match, so unlike Isla before, he is top tier in this one. And pew! No dice. So, it means he might actually be able to survive a hit or two before he dies, although if that KV2 or the OI hit him, yeah, that's going to go quite badly wrong. Still doesn't really have that much in the way of armour, so don't expect the armour to be doing a great deal of much. Ooh, an M3 Lee, a poor M3 Lee. Well, put him out of his misery, and he becomes kill number 1. Scoreline is 1-2, as the friendly team have already lost a KV-1S and a Hell Kitty. Hello, Mr. A43, how are you today? Oh, that goes in. Did it track him? Nah, if it did, the guy has repaired his track. But if he's going to give us his bum, there we go. Sounds like that one tracked him. Yes. Nah, he repaired. But he's on fire and he's dead, so that's all good. But the friendly team just lost a look, so scorelines are still even. Rather ambitious M5 Stuart there, ends up being tracked. OI Experimental is also there. Probably going to go for him, as he is potentially the more dangerous target. Stuart, well, it requires a little bit of finesse. It's a tier 4 light tank. It can be dangerous, but then again, I guess if he's a one-shot, nuts to it. So he is dead. OI Experimental has unfortunately managed to make his way down into a relatively safe position, or at least safe from Dave's gun. And there's a Stridsvagn M42 down there as well. Some people find these Swedish tank names a little bit confusing. I can't say I blame them too much. Worth pointing out that the tier 5 was the IKV 103. This is the IKV 65. At higher tiers you get various Stridsvagns. The S-tank. I just call them the S-tank. For the higher tier tank destroyers, but you also of course have the mediums that are not S-tanks. Hello Mr. KV2. Kill number 4, Mr. KV2. Cheers. Scoreline is 7-9, so despite the fact that Dave has over half his team's kills, well, that says about as much about his team as you might expect. Manages to track that Stridsvagn there, the 74, that's the tier 6 Swedish medium tank. That one bounces, which is a bit unexpected, and Dave takes a hit in the face for his troubles, unfortunately. And 7-12, there's only 3 of them left now. Boo, takes another hit, takes the shot blind, but nah, not happening. Oh, takes a hit there from the M5 Stuart, and this is looking dicey. Dave puts a shot in, doesn't quite kill the Stuart, but the KV1 has his back. Phew. However, Dave is now on 66 health. And they're outnumbered 2-1. This is a bit dicey. So, Dave bids a hasty retreat to a more defensible location. I mean, he's a one-shot out in the middle of the field. No thanks. KV1 still has some health remaining. Panzer 38 unfortunately doesn't have much, and Dave is going to prioritise the kills, which is entirely sensible. Remove some guns from the game. So there's one of those tier 6 Swedish medium tanks gone. Time to have a look at the premium. Can someone kill this guy? Can someone kill this guy? Come on, come on, come on. Kill it with fire. Kill it with fire. Seriously? Oh, well, fine. Top Gun. KV1S there. Appears to be hidden behind some cover. Dave takes a punt, don't really blame him. And there we are. Someone is capping the friendly base. It's worth pointing out, by the way, that the team have managed to, well, Dave has managed to even this up somewhat, so that the team is only 1 kill behind. Now, KV1 and T150 were last spotted in the town. KV1S, we know where he is. Someone is capping. My money would be on it being one of either... Oh no, there's the KV1. I reckon it's probably the T150. Yeah, there we go. We haven't seen the Matilda 4 yet, but well, that was unlucky. And it doesn't look like Dave has actually been spotted. This T150 is blind firing somewhere that is not where Dave is. There's the Matilda 4. Focus down the T150. He is the much more dangerous tank. Unfortunately, that one misses. That's a bit unfortunate. But then again, I guess the Matilda 4 is capping. He's there. He's out in the open. He's an easy target. And these guys just don't seem to have the view range to spot Dave here. It's not as if Dave is at ludicrous ranges, but he does have a camo net. Soviet tanks often have a rather dubious view range. And there we go. Oh, this guy's looking straight at Dave now, but Dave should be able to reload before this guy fires again. There we are. And back off, back off, back off, back off, back off, back off. And he's fired. You do not want to eat another 107mm shell, or you don't want to eat a 107mm shell. That would be unpleasant. But thanks to the KV1 taking out that KV1S, this T150 is actually the last guy left in the match. There he is. There he goes. And there's the end of the match. Hurrah! Let's go and have a look at the post-battle stats for this one. So, that ended up being a fairly impressive result in the IKV-65 Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Duelist, Fire for Effect, Defender, High Caliber, Top Gun, and a Radley Walters medal for those 8 kills. 3,208 damage done, 8 kills, 1,629 base experience. Really nice result there for I Am Not Dave. Shout out should also go to Archimedes67 in his KV1, just shy of 2,000 damage, 3 kills, 1,118 damage done. Not only did he have a really solid game, but it was also him who managed to kill the Stuart, who was giving Dave some problems at one point in the match, keeping Dave alive and allowing Dave, therefore, to carry the match. 25 shots fired, 21 hits, 17 penetrations for that damage count. Most of it, over half at least, from relatively long range. In this match, like I said, he was top tier, so I Am Not Dave was able to take a few shots without dying, although it's worth pointing out a few of those shots were from a Stuart, so quite piddly. Alpha damage. 4 enemy vehicles spotted, 11 damaged, 8 destroyed. There were only 4 vehicles on the enemy team Dave didn't put a shot into. 1,000 assistance damage, over 1,000 assistance damage. 71 defense points and 1.3 kilometers traveled. Now, because of the vintage of that replay, I wasn't actually and the incompatibility issues, I wasn't actually able to see what ammunition Dave was firing there. Judging from the ammunition resupply costs, I think he dipped into the premium a little bit at least. But in the end, he was still able to walk away with a profit. With a premium account, 19,790 credits in the pocket. And basically 5,000 XP made. Really nice result there. Got one more game to show you, and for this we are going to jump up another few tiers. Here we are then, our last replay of this video, and we join Polestar in the STRV 1030. This is the tier 9 Swedish tank destroyer, one of the versions of the infamous S-tank. And I can't really talk about this replay without also talking about siege mode. Higher tier Swedish tank destroyers get what's known as siege mode. This is because the S-tank, on which they are all based, was a Swedish main battle tank. Being Swedish, I mean, the Swedes do like to be a little bit unusual. Here it is. And the thing about it is, it was a main battle tank, but it looks very much like a tank destroyer. It functions very much like a tank destroyer. It's classified as a tank destroyer in the game, but the gun doesn't have any traverse. It is entirely fixed in the hull. Not even a little bit of traverse to either side, unlike your traditional tank destroyer. All of the movement for the gun was done by playing around with the height of the suspension here. Now, for a long time people have been calling for Swedish tanks to be implemented in World of Tanks, and one of the reasons that was given for that being very unlikely to happen was, well, we're not going to get Swedish tanks in the game because they aim, or this one aims by moving the suspension, and there's no mechanic in the game to really allow that. Enter siege mode. Essentially, when you go in siege mode, several things happen. Firstly, the stats of your gun are improved. Now, I'm not talking about the penetration or the alpha damage, I'm talking about the aim time, the accuracy, and the rate of fire. All of those get better. Secondly, you are then also allowed to move the suspension of your tank. And I'm not going to get into huge amount of details on how you do it, because I've never played these tanks, so I'd probably tell you something wrong, but you are allowed to adjust the suspension to aim the gun. And also, as you can see there, if you are in siege mode, traversing the hull does not reset your camo net or any binocular telescopes you might be using. So, there is that. So essentially, with these tanks, you go to your camping location of choice, you go into siege mode, and you camp and snipe. It may not be for everyone, but that is what they do. These tanks come equipped with a 105mm gun that packs 390 alpha and 308 penetration with regular rounds. That's a lot. That's, I'm just going to auto aim through the front of a Type 4 or Type 5 heavy lots. You know, it's a lot of pen. If you want to fire some premium rounds, that pen goes up to 350, but with such high penetration on your regular rounds, I don't really see it being that necessary. And bear in mind, this is the tier 9 version, this is not the tier 10, although I believe they share the same gun. So, over 300 standard penetration at tier 9, ooh, that's going to leave a mark. You can also see here that in siege mode, the rate of fire is pretty sweet on this gun. As is the accuracy. These are like sniper rifles. They're railguns that just chip away at their targets. It's quite impressive. The other thing to note about armour on these tanks, The armour is actually quite thin, it's only 40mm, I believe, on this machine, but it is sloped back far enough that it is at an auto-bounce angle most of the time, which means that whilst it's only 40mm thick, you need a gun with a calibre larger than 120mm in order to actually overmatch the front of these and penetrate them. Or fire heat ammunition, because that has a different auto-bounce angle, 80 degrees instead of 70. Anyway, I digress. Let's actually bring the minimap up a little bit. Polestar is on a standard match here on Derpenberg. And everyone who's still alive, so everyone we care about, has gone over to their side of the river. The enemy team is on their side of the river. And the camping has been happening. I mean, you might complain, but honestly that's what this map is like. So I wouldn't complain too hard. Polestar's had a few shots at people, the Type 4, the FV215B, etc. But so far, nothing too impressive, really. Not saying anything negative about the way Polestar's playing it, it's just, you know, we've just seen some shots at people, some damage. I mean, he's racked up 2,000 damage, which is nothing, you know, to be ashamed of. But it's not absolutely outstanding either. T10 down there, a bit awkward because he's behind some ruins. He's got some cover to work with. Alas. There's a Leopard 1 down there as well. Nope, he's no longer spotted. And I must confess, this is why I'm not necessarily in a huge rush to go down the Swedish tank destroyer line. It looks rather... what's the word I'm looking for? Sedate? Let's go with sedate. It's very campy. And I get quite bored camping in tank destroyers too much. So I'm not sure if I'd actually like them or not. I've been playing the French tank destroyers a lot lately, as some of you will know, and I get bored enough in them. So, yeah. Trying not to yawn here. Again, no criticism of Polestar, it's just what these machines are like, unfortunately. Scoreline is 6-5, 9 minutes of this match left. It is of course a standard game. If it were an assault game, we would be down to 4 minutes left, but we are not. So it is 9. That T10 is suddenly finding he's getting lots and lots of friends. That Chat 25T, VKB and a T57 Heavy. Ooh, 2 autoloaders. Ouch. That's going to make a mess. And he just gets deleted. The guy next to Polestar sounds like he just took a hit. That VKB is taking some fire. And yay, E50M. Can we shoot something? Boo. He's behind cover. Botherations. God damn it. However, if he's going to back off, well, we shall see. And no one spotted again. And we're back to gently nodding off. Nah, this is what high tier matches on Erlenberg are like, unfortunately, especially on the standard game mode. Assault has that faster time limit, so there's a bit more incentive to get over there and do something. An encounter at least moves the capture point to the middle of the map. Sorry there, I'm desperately trying to stay awake. Oh dear. Now the other thing you have to bear in mind when you are in siege mode in these Swedish tank destroyers is that your mobility gets absolutely wrecked. And also remember, it's by traversing the hull and moving the suspension that you actually move the gun. So if someone tracks you, you can't point the gun anywhere else. That's it. Polestar has moved up into a slightly more aggressive position and pew! Hello Mr. E50M. Polestar has been spotted, however, that E50M has a 105mm gun. The frontal armour on this tank is sloped back at a sufficient enough angle that, well, that's going to auto-bounce. So he can't really penetrate the front of Polestar's tank. Unless he loads heat ammunition. I can't remember what the premium round on the E50M is, whether it's APCR or heat. If it's heat, he could load that, gets a different auto-bounce angle, and that would go through, but saving that, he's very limited on ways to penetrate the front of Polestar's tank. Scoreline, by the way, is now 7-7. The friendly team have lost a couple of tanks to even this up. Oh, Polestar comes out of siege mode and decides to get out of dodge. Also worth noting, these high-tier Swedish TDs get very, very good reverse speeds. Basically as good as their forward speed, as far as I can work out. When they're not in siege mode, that is. When they are in siege mode, the mobility is cripplingly bad. So Polestar is going to go into siege mode, come round this corner, and get tracked. Repairs his tracks, puts a shot into that E50M, gets tracked again, which is slightly suboptimal. And as you can see there we go, he repairs his tracks, which is good because he could not physically move the gun when he was tracked. That E50M appears to have used his repair kit, and he pays for it. And we know there's a bat chat up there, there's a leopard around about somewhere as well. Polestar's just trying to convince them of the errors of their ways. But no one's actually penetrated Polestar's tank yet. All they've done is take his tracks off. So these Swedish TDs are interesting and more than a little bit weird. Leopard 1 finally nails that VKB, so the friendly team have lost that tank, and we are down to 5 minutes left on this match. Oh, Erlenberg, you can be so annoying. The enemy team is mainly composed of medium tanks at this point. The friendly team, heavies, with a couple of mediums and TDs on the side. And we wait again, hoping that something is going to happen. Just going to speed this along a little bit to save all of our sanities. Leopard pops up, Polestar gets some assistance damage as the Leopard gets wrecked by someone. There's the Bat Chatillon, but nah, no shot over there. And pew! Nope. And no. Let's speed this along again. Now, if this sort of gameplay looks appealing to you, you may well like to go down the Swedish tank destroyer line, certainly to higher tiers. If this gameplay looks like it would drive you to drink, then you probably want to avoid the higher tier Swedish tank destroyers. There is also, I should point out, a time delay between changing modes. It's 1.3 seconds, you can see there. It popped up just as Polestar changed mode, and there again as he went back to travel mode. It's an interesting mechanic, although I do personally think it seems, at first glance, a little bit clunky. Haven't used it myself, as again, I'm still only at tier 2 on this line. And want to ace the tier 2 before I go any further. But, yeah. Back into siege mode. VKB is behind a house. Wait some more. 3 minutes of this match left. VKB appears to be moving. Yay! There we go. This gun only gets 390 alpha damage, of course. Same for the tier 10, which for high tier tank destroyers is not very good. But when you're in the siege mode, they get blistering DPM and, of course, over 300 penetration. And sublime aiming stats and accuracy. So that kind of makes up for it a little bit. And there's the enemy STRV. Side shots. Ooh, he's not having a good day. Object 268, that is a dangerous machine. He has a big enough gun to overmatch Polestar's frontal armor. So, and of course he can penetrate that guy even from the front. So, well, that one, he says, just as there's a shot that doesn't actually go through his armor, it's a critical hit. There we go. Bounce from the STRV, who doesn't have a big enough gun to go straight through his armor. And of course the STRV gets APCR as a premium round, so he can't switch to heat to penetrate him that way. Unfortunately, the guy is looking this way. Ooh, very, very nice. There is the odd location on that tank you can penetrate. Well done for picking it out. It looks like Polestar, because of course that's his opposite number, put a shot right into that commander's hatch there. Very nicely done indeed. Relocating again, here you can see the reverse speed. He's going backwards at 50 kilometers an hour because of course he is. Why wouldn't you? And relocating. That unfortunately is the first damage Polestar has taken all game, and it's from a little love bump with a friendly tank. Puts one into the bat chat there. Bat chat gets executed. We're now, by the way, in case you were paying attention, over 6,000 damage done. And there are 3 enemy tanks remaining. Only 1 minute left on this match, however. So we've got the STRV, the Leopard prototype, and the Leopard 1 as the remaining tanks. Leopard 1 is over this way. And Polestar goes into siege mode. And Polestar actually takes a hit there. Where did that penetrate? Nope, not sure. Never mind. Doesn't matter. But manages to execute the Leopard there. Leopard prototype down there. Siege mode again. No, T-62A is just a bit quicker on the trigger, and that just leaves the enemy STRV. As the guys close in, oh, that's how the Leopard penetrated. He was firing heat. Silly me. And there you can see the only damage Polestar has taken from an enemy tank there is from someone firing heat. Heat auto bounces at 80 degrees rather than 70. So, yeah. But there we go. That is the match. So, after that rather lengthy affair, once again in this video, let's go and have a look at the post-game stats. Here we are then. That was enough for Polestar to get Ace Tanker, Spotter, Bruiser, Duelist, 5 for Effect, and the Confederate Medal. 6,309 damage done, 2 kills, 1,488 base experience. Very, very nicely done there. Commiserations to the enemy Leopard. 6,500 damage. The high caliber medal, along with some smaller awards, not enough to carry his wonderful team to victory. 29 shots fired, 21 hits, 17 penetrations for that damage count, about 2/3 of which was from more than 300 meters. 5 hits received, 1 penned, 4 didn't. 1,170 damage blocked by Polestar's armor there, 1,629 assistance damage, 2 enemy vehicles spotted, 9 damaged, 2 destroyed, almost 2 kilometers traveled, and with a premium account, 51,000 credit profit. In fact, that would have been a fairly substantial profit even without a premium account, and a nice amount of experience to boot. This was apparently Polestar's last match in this tank. So there we go, a quick little perusal through some of the Swedish tank destroyers. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, by all means feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel. And as ever, I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.